I am absolutely heartbroken over a man slowly becoming a shark. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Shark Heart. I'll be updating you with my thoughts as I read this book. So let's jump into it. Turning into a shark is a very strange idea, but I really like it. I started this book today. Run, Angela, run. It's sad, it's emotional, it's beautiful, it's poetic, it's painful, it's real, it's raw, it's so much, and I'm pretty excited to read this book. It has like a kind of really bizarre concept though, but I have not heard anything bad about it. In fact, one of my friends recommended this to me because she heard about just how great it is. So from my understanding, Shark Heart follows our main character who's newly wed to this man, and the man gets a very rare diagnosis, and that is he is slowly going to become a great white shark in 9 months' time, meaning that he is going to lose everything that he is. He's going to lose like his personality, his memories, his really just everything about him. I don't know if this means he's actually going to physically turn into a great white shark. And if that's the case, like, does she need like a pool that she can keep her husband in? I don't know. But despite the bizarre sounding plot, apparently it's actually a really, really sad and well done book that focuses a lot on grief and metamorphosis and letting things go. And like, it has like these really deep themes to it, but the plot itself sounds kind of silly. But when you think about it, the shark is probably a metaphor for something else. But like just watching the person that you love slowly lose everything that they are sounds horrible. That sounds like the worst thing to ever see, especially as a newlywed. And the fact that it talks about 9 months is kind of hinting at that maybe she's gonna have a baby and she's pregnant this entire time while her husband is slowly losing everything about him. And when you put it that way, it's like, wow, what is this book going to be like? And I think that it's going to be really good. I do have really high expectations for this book, and it's this author's first book. This is her debut, and so that's just really, really exciting. I love reading authors' debuts. It's special, magical, and I love supporting them. So without further ado, let's crack this book right open. Oh, but wait! We know the drill. This has a cover, and that needs to come off before I read it because I don't like the way that the dust covers move around and stuff when I'm trying to read. If I had to guess, I would say that this book is probably green and yellow, or maybe teal and yellow, because this is more like a tealy color. Yeah, because it usually would match the cover here. So let's take the cover off and reveal it, and then it will have like that book of the month little stamp then on the front there. So, let's see, the great reveal, here it comes. Dun da da! Oh! Okay, it's a bit of a darker color than I imagined. I thought this was gonna be way brighter, but I did get the colors right in a way, but not this color as I expected it to be. So apparently this came out in August 2023, so I didn't know what little stamp was gonna be there. I knew it was gonna have a stamp, I just didn't know like the year or the month, because I don't know when this book actually came out. Let's crack this book open for real now. So I'm a little bit more than 100 pages into Shark Heart, and here are my thoughts so far. Okay, yeah, this book is good. This book is really good. It's really interesting the way that it's written as well. It's very, very poetic. The chapters, there's like no chapters really. It's like pages are like that short. And it's just like such an immersive like story that I can't put it down. I just want to know what happens. It's so deep and heart-wrenching and just beautifully done. I'm so glad that I read this book, and I'm not like if I wasn't recommending this book, like I had judged this book, I was like, oh yeah, like someone turned into a shark, that's kind of weird. But no, it's like actually really good. The story is written in the way that you would see kind of like a screenplay, and that's completely intentional because one of our main characters, Lewis, he's the one who has been diagnosed with the rare disease that he will turn into a great white shark. And so he's always wanted to be like a Broadway actor, and unfortunately his dreams never really worked out. And so instead he teaches kind of like the drama program at his local high school. And so that's kind of his job. He's like a super well-loved teacher as well. He really loves what he does, but he's kind of put his life ambitions on the back burner. And his wife has always encouraged him to really just write these amazing ideas that he has, like do the screenplay, write it down, but he's always kind of saying stuff which is like, you know, like he's too tired to really focus on what he really wants to do because he's so busy with school, like teaching and all that. And so it's interesting because that's his character. He's very creative, he's very kind of like busy, that kind of character. And so somebody like that now being diagnosed as a shark and becoming a shark, he's like trying to make it like more positive and stuff, but in reality he's not having a good time with it. Our other main character is Wren, and she's the wife of Lewis, and she is very practical. She loves her list, she doesn't beat around the bush, like she knows what she wants and she'll do it, and she is a major perfectionist. And so she grew up with a very young mother. Her mom had her at 15 years old, and so that's always been like a bit of a strain. And it seems like she and her mom were really close when she was younger, but then something had happened when she was away in school. Like, I don't know if it looked like her mom maybe is like really sick or something. And so there's some kind of strain in their relationship that happened, and it's kind of like alluded at that her mom is no longer around, most likely passed away. And so there's a lot of like really deep kind of issues inside of Wren that she's kind of like keeping in a tightly closed box so she can kind of move forward and not let it catch up to her. But obviously it will catch up to her at some point. And so we're kind of watching as she's trying her best to deal with what's happening to her husband. But then there's like this one scene where she's at work and she makes mistakes, and she's like, I don't make mistakes. Like, how am I making a mistake? Like, what's going on? And like, she starts to panic a lot about that. And like, when her husband tells her, like, you know, like everybody makes mistakes, she's like, but I don't. Like, it really shows like the kind of character that she is. And it's interesting to see just like how we're learning a little bit about her background and her backstory in very subtle ways when we get our kind of like our flashback time periods parts of the story. We're learning more about her and her childhood and what kind of happened with her in university and her relationship with her mom and how she met Lewis and like all of this stuff. And it's just so well done, and it's just so cute, the moments that these two have together, and she's coming with him to all of his appointments and stuff. And it's also just like really heartbreaking. Turning into a shark is a very strange idea, but I really like it because like I kind of see it more like as like a metaphor. You know, any kind of terminal illness that somebody has, they are going to change in a way. And we're seeing that with Lewis, that he's no longer able to walk properly. He's more irritable. He has a change in appetite. Like, he's slowly losing parts of himself, but it's also simultaneously like making him really want to strive and like reach for his goals before it's too late, before he becomes a shark. And so I think that that's really interesting to think about, because then there's this other character who's only known as Tiny Pregnant Woman, and she is a swimmer, and she was apparently so good at swimming that she could have been in the Olympics, but she purposely failed the test so she didn't have to do that, and she resents swimming. She really got into running, but then she got pregnant and she isn't allowed to run anymore, so she had to take up swimming again. And it turns out that she's carrying 2 baby birds inside of her. So it's really interesting, like kind of like the animal aspect in this book, and she becomes friends with Wren, and that's where I'm at right now. So I'm interested to see like where the rest of this book is going to go, and I really hope that there's somehow a happy ending. So yeah, I'm going to continue to read Shark Heart, and I'll update you around the halfway mark, so I will see you then.
We wandered around so, walking the streets together. Your smell is like the sunlight, it swept away all worries and troubles. We went to Korea and saw the roses bloom, the fairy tale and dreams come.
So I'm now definitely more than halfway through Shark Heart, and this book, I started this book today. This book is like two books inside of one book, I think is the best way to explain it, because we start off with Wren and Lewis's story, but then once we get to the halfway point, their story has come to its conclusion, and I'm like, where's the rest of this book going to go? It does not disappoint, because now the next part of the book is Angela's story, and this is Wren's mother, who had her at 15 years old. And so it's really interesting to be able to see what her mom was like. How did that happen? Like, what were the circumstances? What was it like growing up? What was her family life? And so we're getting to see that now, because when we talk about, like, in Wren and Lewis's story, Wren talks a little bit about, like, some things that she remembers about her mom, but she's trying her best not to think about it because it just hurts too much, because her mom's no longer around. And so it's really interesting to finally get that side of the story within the same book. So now that we're introduced to Angela, we learn that the story starts on her 15th birthday, and we learn kind of like about her parents. Her mom's an alcoholic, her dad is an overworked doctor, and her parents don't even really notice Angela, and they don't really talk to each other either. Like, Angela could be gone for like days on end, and they'll have no idea. They won't notice that she's gone, or she'll just tell them like she's hanging out with this person, and they'll be like, okay, sounds good, without following up on that or ever asking more about that. So Angela's very, very lonely. And so that's why when she meets this guy named Marcos, who finally makes her feel like she's been seen and that she's perfect and amazing, she definitely falls head over heels for him and wants to spend every single moment with him, obviously telling her parents that she's with a friend named Lisa, who she only had to mention that once, and her parents were like, okay, cool, and then continued to ignore her. So she could be gone for days, just spending time with this Marcos guy, who I'm pretty sure is an adult, based on, like, they haven't directly said his age, but I'm guessing he's in his 20s, and Angela is 15. So the power dynamic in this relationship, he starts with all the love bombing, like telling her she's perfect and amazing and beautiful, and he's like worshiping the floor, the ground that she walks on. But then when she gets pregnant, stuff starts to change, because now he's like, oh, she's not like that beautiful anymore. Like, he's being like really rude to her, and she's like, you know what, like, I understand like you're stressed because you're the only one working, so let me go get a job. And so she gets a job, and then she ends up working at this motel where she ends up making some friends, a brother and sister friend. So the sister, Julia, works at the hotel with her mom, and then Julia's best friend is her twin brother, George, who doesn't work at the motel, but when they go to hang out with the family, all of them get to hang out. And it's interesting because Wren mentions George towards the conclusion of her story. So I think that that's interesting to figure out, like, who is this character? Like, obviously he's important, but then obviously Angela's having a good time. And so Marcos gets even more controlling. Like, he already doesn't let her see her dad or anything. And he starts to hurt her in very subtle ways. Like, it's not like he'll like squeeze her arm just a little bit too much, and like it's really sad because she's like, oh, he's finally touching me again, and it's like, no, run, Angela, run. So yeah, it's a very controlling relationship, a very abusive relationship that she is in, but she can't see it, right? Because she's been love bombed, and it's just like, it makes me really sad. But then, like, now the part that I'm at, she's just given birth to Wren, who we know from the first part of this book, and I'm excited to see where that goes, because she sounded like she was a really amazing mother. I don't know what happened between her and Wren as Wren grew up, but based on like the stories of Wren's childhood, it sounds really, really sweet, and I'm excited to see where it goes, and like, where's this stuff with George and Julia going to go, and like, are they still involved in adult Wren's life? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. So I'm going to continue to read Shark Heart, and I feel like this book is going to break my heart. Like, there's just so many sad moments in it, and it's so well done, and it's so beautiful, and I love the poetic prose of it, and just the way that all the scenes have been written and like structured. Like, look at that. It's so good. Ah, it's so good. So yeah, I'll see you when I finish this book. So I'll see you then. couple hours ago, I finished Shark Heart, and I really needed time to just think and process everything about this book because it was so good. Whenever I try to explain the plot of this book, it just always sounds absolutely ridiculous, which I mean, one of the reasons why I didn't read it for so long is I'm like, it just sounds ridiculous. But no, it's sad, it's emotional, it's beautiful, it's poetic, it's painful, it's real, it's raw, it's so much, and it's getting to know Angela and Wren's stories was absolutely just like my heart broken. I'm devastated. You grow to love these characters so quickly. They feel so real, and like I know they're not real people, but it's just so hard. And like having to imagine Wren go through that as a newly married woman in her first year of marriage, and just watching her husband get this super rare condition, and then watching him decline and lose himself and everything that she loved about him, and she's still his caretaker. And it's just like, it's so sad because it's real. People go through this, like couples, perhaps it's not as like common when they're that young, but like we've seen many stories, like real life. We know people, parents, grandparents, who have gone through the same thing where it's like perhaps one of them has like Alzheimer's and you're watching them lose everything about who they were, or somebody's going through chemo and you watch them just become less and less as they're really fighting and working towards just like getting back to being healthy. And it's the exact same thing. Like it's that level of pain and grief and pre-grief, because they know that he's not going to make it. They know that the shark transformation is going to happen, which is the same as like a terminally ill patient. And so it is so good, and you just really feel for the characters, and it's inevitable, it's realistic, even though it's a shark, but like you can obviously look at it as a metaphor and like put any other terminal illness in that place to understand where the characters are coming from and why they're feeling and reacting the way they are. And then like when you get Wren's story, and then you've learned about Wren, and then you go to Angela's story, and it just hits. Wren's story hits so hard immediately after. I feel like I have to reread Wren's story to even just like see all of the kind of like hints and stuff that I didn't understand, like George, that kind of stuff. And then when you see Angela's story, you grow to love her and you understand her, and you figure out what happened and like how she died so young, and like, oh, it's just so sad. Everything about it is so sad, and it's like, it's so good. It's so good. You should read this book. You should really read this book. This is one of those books that's honestly gonna stay with me for a really, really long time, and I think it's one I would definitely reread again. It was really great. I read it the same day I started it, but like keep in mind that this book isn't like pages and pages and pages. It's literally like sometimes these are the pages. So it's like definitely realistic to finish a book like this. This is not as like big as you may think it is. It is just so good. It's so gripping. It's so beautiful, and just I've never read anything like this, and I'm astonished. This is her debut. I cannot wait to see what else she is going to come up with, because I'm a fan, definitely a fan. So today we are going to be awarding Shark Heart a total of 5 stars. I can't believe this is like, I think this is the third 5-star book that I've read this month. I don't know why I'm so lucky, but I will take it. I will take the luck. Such a good time. Such an emotional book. So good. Highly, highly, highly recommend this. Yeah, I'm speechless. So the next book that I'm going to be reading is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. This book I think sounds really interesting because it kind of reminds me of Seventh Time Loop, where it's like these two characters who they keep on killing each other, but they're also falling in love with each other every single time, and so it repeats over and over and over and over and over. And yeah, I love that kind of story. I'm such a big fan of like infinite timelines and that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is what I'll be reading next. So if you're interested in watching me read Our Infinite Fates or any other book that happens to be on my never-ended TBR, definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video and you want to give Shark Heart a read, definitely hit the like button. And pretty cool news, I'm a YouTube partner, which what that means for you is that by becoming a member of my channel, you'll be getting access to early videos. I'll reply to your comments first. You get really cool emojis. You have access to the kind of secret member chat kind of area where you can recommend me books, which instantly go higher on my queue than any other books would be. So all that really cool stuff. And as a member, there's 3 different tiers. So it's pretty much the equivalent of getting me a Tim Hortons coffee, which I will put towards getting more books, either physical or on my Kobo, that we can read together on this channel. So if that sounds interesting to you, all the information is in the description to this video. So with that, I'm gonna wish you warm wishes and fish kisses, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!